Welcome back to the Sounds of Stadia podcast for episode 141 of your weekly gaming show where we round up all of the Stadia and video game news for your listening or viewing pleasure right here on youtube.com/Helix Cloud Games or up there in the digital cloud on your podcast preference of choice. We have a great show lined up for you this week talking about all of your pro games, which no doubt you've already claimed and talked about across social media, but we're going to break all those down. Alongside, we have Jedi Survivor news. We've got Madden and FIFA news. Whether they're coming or not, we're going to break it all down alongside CD Projekt Red, focusing on expansions, new games announced for Stadia, Richie, and much, much more. But before we dive into all that, you're joining myself, Chris, your host, alongside the recovering one, the man of many pixels, Mr. Richie.
We had a good holiday, but it wasn't... You know what? I know when I go back to work on Monday, everyone's going to ask me, oh, did you have a nice, relaxing holiday? And it's like, no, it was nice, but it was not relaxing.
It was not.
We drank a lot. We drank a lot. We walked a lot. We travelled a lot. Yes, we did.
Airports
sometimes
aside,
in the right direction.
Yes, we may have gone in the opposite direction to where we needed to be on a train for an hour and a half before realising. But you know what? Polish is a hard language. Anyone out there who can speak / or has learned Polish, big congratulations to you, because that we just didn't even have a clue at some points. We got laughed at. We tried our hardest. We didn't want to be those ignorant Brits abroad. We used Google Translate to the high heavens. Did it help us that much? Not really. But we tried. A little bit. We got home safe, basically, is what we're saying. Thank you to everyone, of course, who tuned in, who watched the shows, who watched our, not first look, our Overcooked stream that went up on the Thursday. Thank you to all those people who stayed tuned in our absence. We, of course, tried to reschedule everything, but... schedule everything, not reschedule, but we tried to make things as seamless as possible in our absence, but we've had a break. We're back. We're not really re-energized, but we're here anyway to talk about all of the Stadia and gaming news, because, as I said, we've got a great show. But before we do dive into it, do give the video a like, click that bell and subscribe, and shake it, so you're kept in the loop with all of the news and things we do here at Helix Cloud Games, like said first looks, like this very podcast, like our Cloud Quest show, where our Helix heroes, our members of the channel, they actually get up to 6 days early. Sometimes, Richie, even beyond a week if we're going away.
Yeah.
How early did they get the last one?
Oh, it must have been like 9 days or something.
10 days. You can't beat it, folks. So if you want to show me and Richie a little bit more support, jump down below, hit join on the YouTube video. From as little as 99 pence, you get stickers, you get badges, and you get early exclusive content until it goes on the free feeds later in the week. But we'll be talking more about that as we get into it. Few little bits of housekeeping. Now we are home, Richie, we can actually do housekeeping. Thursday,
yeah.
It wasn't even on Thursday this week. I jumped in on the first of the month. Thought I'll try and encapsulate the Happy Pro Day going live. I was a bit tired, but I did it anyway. Deliver Us the Moon, my first look, is up on the channel. Great game. It's finally arrived. It's here. Kyoken delivered it, albeit 2 months late, with a couple of bumps along the way, Richie. But we got it. Game run's great. A couple of bits of stuttering when the game actually saves, but I think that's common for most titles, actually, to have a little bit of lag when it's saving the file. Cloud Quest 69 did go up this past Friday, where we spoke about Stadia reinvesting in game studios, and is it the time to actually make that recommitment to possibly buying or just investing, because the market is shrinking out there as Xbox and Sony and other people gobble up all these companies. Also, huge round of applause, Richie, to us, to you awesome people out there who have subscribed. We achieved the 1.5k mark. It ticked over whilst we were abroad. We couldn't be happier. Thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts to everyone who's shared, followed, subscribed. Mostly subscribed. That's how we get the number of 1.5k after all. And we expect to go above and beyond. And Richie did say if we pass 2,000 by the end of the year, if I recall, he will stream My Little Pony for your pleasure, I guess. I don't know. Richie's pain is probably the pleasure in that stream.
That sounds like... I'm pretty sure I did say that. We'll do it.
We'll do it.
So 2,000 by the end of the year, so you got 6 months to get that over 500.
Yeah, you've got half a year to double down. And then the final part, whilst we were away in Poland, we said at the end, I think, last week's show, I've played Stadia at the top of the Shard. There's a video up on the channel. 1,000 odd foot in the air. This past week, Richie, we dove into a mine in the deepest parts of Poland. We went hundreds of feet down underground There was a pub there, I will point out. We did have a good couple of drinks. However, we of course wanted to test out how Stadia would run. Does Stadia work in a mine? No, it does not. There is no signal in a mine, believe it or not, everyone. Let alone enough to stream cloud gaming software. So a nice little story for there. Doesn't work in a mine. But if you've tried out Stadia in an even stranger place, do let us know in the comments below. I'd love to hear some of your wackiest stories out there. That isn't just your usual, I've used it in the hotel, I use it in the car. Does anyone go high?
I used it in the bath.
I mean, actually I have. I've played FIFA in the bath. But less said about that, the better. But if anyone's played it higher than me at the Shard, I'd love to know. Again, I want to hear all those stories. Get them in the comments below. Tweet at us, at Helix Cloud Games. Share all your awesome times playing in the clouds. Right, Richie. It's time for the show. Let's get into it. Housekeeping's done. We've got loads to talk about. Loads of new games, which our fingers are so tightly crossed that some of these are going to come. But before that, we do have our pro game. So, Richie, introduce us to the
super sexy special Stadia story segment, aka
the news. Loads of news to talk about. We knew it. We knew it was coming. We said last week the pro games. Were they going to come before the episode? We didn't know. We didn't get them. And here we are. They delivered on the last day of the month. They put out their usual community blog, breaking down the titles we've got. And we've got 6, technically 7, to talk about. So one of the busy months, of course, one of them is a title we don't already know about, but we'll get to that. Starting things off then, Richie. Number 1, your one top pro game for the month is Golf with Friends. This was only recently actually brought to the platform.
Yeah, like last month.
Last month, yeah. It was from Team 17. Of course, cute little golf game we know about. We've discussed on previous episodes. We won't go too much into it. You can essentially share with up to... how many people was Golf with Friends? 12 other players, if I remember, across 11 levels containing 18 holes each. We've seen a bunch of the community streams, content creators playing this title. Fun little golf game. Not really much more to say about it. It is crazy golf. It's not serious golf. So you can fill your boots with that one if you wish.
I kind of got lucky on this because I did initially buy it because it looked like at one point we might do this as a Thursday night stream, but then we decided to go with something else. And then so I just refunded it on the off chance it'll come as a Stadia Pro game. So this has worked well for me.
You've actually benefited from that one, yes. We'll probably no doubt do a stream of this at some point. As you said, I think some other titles came out that was maybe more befitting of our channel and our audience to jump in with. But yeah, Team 17, again, doing great stuff. A little bit, again, probably disappointing for those who maybe didn't refund it and only purchased it last month. We've had that a few times happen with Pro. And I think that just comes down to the nature of the library isn't that big enough to support so many Pro games and new games at the pace they're putting them out.
I still think it's never great when it happens though.
Certainly not.
Because all like the die-hard like gamers who buy new games dropped, I'll buy it, and now just getting screwed over.
Yeah, I'll buy it to support the platform and the developer, and then it's free less than 30 days later potentially. But we've had it before, as we know. If you reach out to the Google support team, Stadia support, they usually issue a refund. They're usually quite cool with it. So if you are out there and you're feeling hard done by, just hit them up, see if you can get an extended refund. And I know they've done it with, I think they did it right at the very beginning with Tomb Raider, Richie. I think I bought Rise of the Tomb Raider, Shadow, one of the two, and then it went on Pro like less than 10 days later. So that was a bit disappointing, but I did get my refund, so never mind. To prevent that, though, you could just go straight onto Pro on launch day, just like the second Pro game of the month, Death Run TV. It did just that, Richie. We spoke about this before. Experience the real-time blistering speed and bullet-dodging action. I think I said it was Super Meat Boy meets Dead Nation. I've seen loads of people playing this. It looks like a fun, competitive action shooter set in an arena where you get likes for basically the more people you massacre. I think we'll probably check this one out at some point as well. It's just getting the time, isn't it, really?
Yeah, well, this is the thing that we've literally been on holiday for like a week, so we've just, in terms of gaming time, we've just lost 7 days. Yeah,
exactly. I know a lot of people complain about that. Where you go on holiday, you go away to relax, to enjoy, to do other experiencing, exploration, and you miss out on those video games. But Deliver Us the Moon, I was going to say. Death Run TV, it's out now. It's gone straight into Pro, so go play it. The more time played, of course, the more the developers benefit from hours and time spent. Looks like a fun little action shooter, and no doubt there'll be many of you out there checking Death Run TV out, because it is, as I said, brand new to Stadia, and it's went straight into Pro. Looking forward to trying that one myself. It does. I do enjoy a good twin stick shooter from time to time. The next game up, Richie, which we knew has been coming for quite some time. It's finally here. This was the one. It's the more relaxing game. So Lake is the third Stadia Pro title we'll break down. For those who don't remember what Lake was, escape to the beautiful rustic environment without cell phones and the internet. Stadia wouldn't work there. As Meredith Weiss, who takes a break from her career in the big city to deliver mail in her hometown. In this indie open world adventure game where your choices matter, you'll have to make up your mind, return to the demanding city job, or stay in the town that you grew up in. Now, we had a little chuckle about this, didn't we? Because she returns home because her father used to be the mailman. And she's called back for hopefully not too disturbing reasons. Goes back to her hometown and she has to basically pick up the mantle in her father's absence. And it's more of a slow, methodical game with relaxing music, very artistic, beautiful scenes. And somehow she has to do the job, which I don't think would ever happen in real life, but only in video games.
I mean, if it's like works like that in your country, let us know. But it's like, if my dad's retired now, but if he was still working and he went on holiday or something for like a month, I couldn't just go, okay, I'm just going to go do your job now, especially when I have a job myself. It's a bizarre premise.
Yeah.
But I think we're probably focusing in too much. This is probably just, we need a way of getting this character into this town.
Yeah, I'm sure if it's very small town, rural America, it may just be a case of, we all know you're his daughter, you're just like your father, and then would you like to do the job? I'm sure there's some storyline beats, which again,
I'm sorry guys, I've got a life.
Again, she might take a sabbatical and then realise she loves her hometown. Returning home is always a nice thing. But
I'm not going to jump into this one.
Yeah, this is one I think from an artistic standpoint alone, this one probably has me on a visual step, which actually has my intrigue. And I do enjoy I always look at games similar to this as more palette cleansers. They're not overly long, they're not crazy open world sprawling collectathons. It's just a nice game that's probably going to have some nice piano music, nice visuals to look at. Probably only takes, I'd say 5 to 10 hours probably.
It's 6, according to how long to beat. Main story 6 hours 20. Completionist is like 7.5 hours.
5 to 10, a perfectly good guess then. Yeah. Terrific. So Lake, yes, another pro game to add to your library and claim. We should actually check in, Richie, on the Stadia Pro Games monitor because I'm very curious to know how many pro games we have in total actually by now. We've of course been pro members since day one of Stadia's launch, and we must be well past. Must be coming up on 150 maybe now? 100 to 150?
It's definitely up there.
Yeah, so I'll get on to the next game while you do that bit of research with InLead's awesome, as ever, Stadia Pro Games monitor. The next title up on our list is a little one that most people probably forgot about in the meantime. Tohu, it's been out on the platform for quite some time. This is a brand new adventure set in a weird and wonderful world of fish planets. Explore beautiful environments and solve intricate puzzles as a little girl joined by a mechanical alter ego Cubus. Together they'll discover the truth about themselves and the mysterious sacred engine that powers their world. Cute little indie game. A couple of puzzle solving things where basically you work your way through from what I've seen and just solves kind of like not point and click, but it's definitely got a cute little art style. And I feel like Tohu came out so long ago now on the platform that it's probably lost in a lot of people's libraries just due to the nature of being able to scroll and search.
Yep. There's a total of 151 pro games so far.
Ooh, 150. Also 150. I was very close with that one as well. 150.
Same number as the original Pokemon.
Got to catch them all. Got to catch them all. Stadia Pro.
I'm working on that actually in Arceus.
Oh, that's not going on.
I've got about 10 to go.
Oh, have you seen everybody this week thirsting over the new professors for Scarlet and Violet?
I haven't really been on social media much since we went on holiday, to be honest, which is why in our Discord I've been kind of silent, but I'm back now. He's back. There's basically two professors the professor, as always with most Pokemon games, apparently the internet's quite attracted to them in some particular way, but either way, that's a whole different conversation. Professor Oak, the Silver Fox.
It's no Professor. I mean, he might show up. We never know. So yes, Tohu, another great game. It looks like another nice little indie get for Stadia. For those who are big fans of the outright games and family-friendly titles, of course, we usually get one of those with every Stadia every Stadia Pro roundup nowadays. Straight from Outright, Ben 10 is back. Ben and his family are enjoying their European vacation until evil magician Hex unleashes his power of 4 mysterious crystals. Only Ben can break the curse. Get ready to transform into powerful aliens to battle enemies, solve puzzles, and freely explore an exciting 3D world. It's hero time, Richie. Excited for Ben 10? I know Ben 10's not really thing. Our audience know we don't have children.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I'm sure it's a perfectly serviceable game, but we're clearly not target audience. If you're kids, I'm sure it's perfectly fine. I'd
love to know Outright Games' contract with Stadia, because it seems like it's almost, if you keep bringing us the games, we'll put one on Pro. They must be making some dollar off of these deals, because they seem to be the only publisher that's like consistent every month. Like, yeah, let's get something on there. Let's put something out. But then again, they are putting a lot of games on the platform, so no surprise there. Yep. Next up, as we work our way through all of your Pro titles again, a lot of these games we have spoke about extensively on the show before, so I don't want to spend too much time breaking them down, describing them, and asking what our opinions are on them. But one that did catch our eye last time, Richie, was Through the Darkest of Times. I think it was leaked, or it was ESRB rated a few weeks back. And I think the biggest reason was it's Underground Resistance Group, 1933 Berlin, and your goal is to deal small blows to Hitler's Third Reich regime, and you do that by dropping leaflets around town, pinning messages on walls. It's very tactical, if I remember it. You've got to kind of sabotage from within, and it's almost like turn-based. You go through your motions and plan out your attack across a map of Berlin and where you want to strike and where the morale's going up and down. Very different. I think it was like Papers, Please in a way, I think we said.
Yeah, I get that kind of vibe. I'm going to have to look into it a bit more.
Yeah, well now...
Because I think it's one of them games that you can only truly get a gist of what it is by jumping in.
Yeah, the description's like, oh great, it's in Berlin, as many other games are, we're bringing down Hitler, but what exactly do you do? And I think, it's sometimes actually getting stuck in and going, okay, so I'm not physically fighting, I'm not stealthing around or anything like that. Like, it's not Wolfenstein. It's very much a more methodical approach to how you would put your rebels underground, the strategy behind it. Very interesting, very different. I always enjoy a good indie game that kind of takes on itself to do something a bit different. So, only just came out, and we've got it on Pro. So, go fill your boots on that one as well, everyone. And then that brings us, Richie, to, I think, our final game. I think we've gone through them all there. Lake, Death on TV, Through the Darkest of Times, Golf with Your Friends, Tohu, and Ben 10 Power Trip. The final one, as we mentioned at the top of the show, but we're glad we finally do have it. Deliver Us the Moon, Richie. The Amazon driver was delayed, stuck in transit. He finally made it. Of course, Earth is going through some shit with the last astronaut on the lunar base. Can we solve it? I, as remember, did a first look on this live with you lovely people out there this past Tuesday. Jumped in, had a good look at it. Game looks great, runs great. I got a little bit confused at first, Richie, because I thought the game started on the moon as the lone astronaut, and I was wandering around thinking, why is there like cardboard boxes and trailers everywhere? Like I expected the technology on the moon to be a little bit more advanced, and then it dawned on me that actually I had to process.
You have to get to the moon.
I had to get to the moon first. Yeah, I think all the trailers just had me conditioned to think that I'm already the astronaut. I mean, the first thing you do is put on the suit, and in my mind, I'm like, well, why would you have the suit on if you're on Earth already? But yeah, it's a nice little methodical. It's not almost a walking simulator, but you do a lot of floating, actually. So it can't really be called a walking simulator, as you defy gravity for the bulk of the game. But little puzzle solves. It's almost go from room to room, solve mechanical problems on board the ship, solve puzzles using. You get a little laser shooter, and don't get electrocuted by like spare cables and floating debris, that kind of stuff. But I enjoyed it. I had a great time. It's probably, if anyone out there is looking at the list of programs thinking I don't know where to jump in and you're a bit unsure, I definitely recommend Deliver Us the Moon. Of course, we know Deliver Us Mars, the sequel, is due out next year or later this year? Can't remember. I think it's next year. I think the next gen version of Deliver Us the Moon on like PS5 Series X is out later this month, and then we get Deliver Us Mars next year, which Richie's just checking for me now.
I am. Do you know if it was the next gen version or the current gen version? Because that was one of the big questions hanging over us.
Yeah, we did anticipate that the delay may have been to bring it in line. It didn't launch the same day as the next gen. I think the next gen versions are like 19th or something of this month. So
I don't think we have a release date for Deliverers Mars yet. I can't find
it. It might have just been 2023 or something like that then.
Yeah, I think the game's just been announced and that's it.
Okay, no problem. But we finally got it, of course. Disappointed still that they didn't really communicate with us what the problem was. This game was an April Pro game, remember, that was delayed at the 11th hour to be coming. But it's here, it runs fun. Hopefully it's not taking too much buzz away from the title. I definitely recommend it. I think from the ones that are on there, it's arguably the biggest title of this month.
I'd say so. It being delayed for 2 months isn't a great look.
Mm-hmm.
For me, the pick of the bunch is probably either Lake or Through the Darkest of Times, more than Deliverers of the Moon. But it really, I mean, they're three very different games, so...
They certainly are. Can you remember what we went for our pro game predictions on last week's show? Because I think we both had a big one.
I've got them up here. My predictions were Judgment, Final Fantasy 15, and some shitty mobile port.
Well, you were wrong on that front.
I was wrong on all three fronts. Yours were Chorus, Scarf, and Blaze and the Monster Machines Axel City Racers. I'm inclined to give you half a point because you got Ben 10.
Yeah. I did say, I think at the time, it was a one outright game. We'll get one. I just picked one out of the hat. So
yeah, like, you're in the right ballpark. So you win.
Yeah. So how would you rate the June Pro games overall? Of course, we've got 7 technically, so it's a good variety of offering.
I'm going to dismiss Deliverers of the Moon from this month's Pro game because it was meant to be an April Pro game and it wasn't communicated to us in any way, shape or form that they were delaying it to become a Pro game in a different month. They just said it will come when it comes.
Yep.
So it's 6 and it's fine.
Yeah, I would probably rate this offering as a C. Like,
yeah, I might go C minus, borderline. The problem is, it really depends on who you are as a gamer, because I think every game in here is objectively decent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, certainly.
But because there's no single like standout. It's not necessarily it has to be a AAA game. No massive standout in the list, which I think means that at best you might get 1 or 2 games that you're interested in, and the rest are just not for me sort of situation. Which is why the individual games, it feels like a more rather than quantity rather quality time pro game list this time.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think that's a fair assessment. The lack of any kind of what would be deemed as subjectively AA or AAA missing. I always feel like it needs one tentpole title and then the rest kind of are filling in that gap.
I almost feel like if we got a one tentpole title and one of these would probably be better than 6 of them.
Yeah, I would agree with that one. I think if we had one of our potential predictions and then maybe Ben 10 Power Trip, because you've got to complete that outright list, and maybe Death Run, that would have been suffice for me to call it a solid month.
I mean, out of our predictions, Judgment, Final Fantasy 15 or Chorus could have been that tentpole.
Yeah. Indeed. But you do have 7 games out there now, ladies and gentlemen, to go claim and play, add to your library, and do let us know in the comments what your standout one is. We'll throw a poll up on our YouTube account at some point, probably midway through the month, just to check in on you all and see how you're all enjoying it, and let me know what the standout one is for you. I certainly enjoyed Deliverers of the Moon. I'm looking forward to Lake. And of course, Golf with Friends we'll probably check out on a stream sometime. If you'd like to see it, do let us know in the Discord chat. We do take all suggestions, recommendations, comments, concerns, questions for the show over there. If you want to join us, the link is in the description on the YouTube video and on our audio platforms as well. Join us on Discord. We've got a great, vibrant, buzzing community where people write in, talk, all things about video games and just life in general. It's very busy, and we love all of our Discord members over there too. So jump in, join the amazing community we have if you wish to. Right, Richie, that is pro games in the bag. So let's move over to the next big star of the week. Always going to be a big one. Star Wars Celebration happened over the weekend whilst we were away. It really did. We've had a great time. You and me checked out Kenobi together, the Obi-Wan Kenobi series on Disney Plus. If you've not checked it out so far and you're a Star Wars fan, what are you doing? It's fantastic. 3 episodes are up now. Have you watched them all, Richie? Did you know 3 had gone live?
Yep.
Of course. No spoilers here, though. Do not worry. But we did have, and I've mentioned it a few times in the weeks leading up to this, we would see a tease of the Jedi Fallen Order sequel at Star Wars Celebration, and they did not disappoint. Not only did they announce a multitude of new shows, and they teased Indiana Jones at Lucasfilm, they announced a new Willow series, which is nothing to do with Star Wars, but in the midst of all that, they did drop a trailer for EA's sequel, officially titled now. We did report on it, leaked a few weeks ago, but it's now officially didn't give its full name, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and it will be coming out 2023. So it doesn't look like they've quite made the window for end of this year, which I know a few of the rumours were saying they were trying to get it out in time for Christmas. Probably a bit smart that they've pushed it back a little bit just to give it that extra bit of breathing room. We join again with Padawan Cal Kestis as he completes his training on run from the Inquisitors, which again are a big feature in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series and across a multitude of Star Wars shows now, Rebels and the end of Clone Wars and such. Richie, it looks like in 2023 we'll be jumping back in. New planets, new characters, new enemies, more of the same lovely action. But I think you and me both commented on the trailer. Looks absolutely stunning.
Yeah. We were debating whether it was actually, are we watching a cinematic here or in-game, or is this footage in engine? Mm-hmm. And we both kind of came to the conclusion that AAA games don't really tend to do out-of-engine footage anymore for trailers. Yeah. Because the gameplay is that good, why would you bother? Yeah,
Cal's looking fantastic in it, picking back up. It is confirmed as well as next gen only. But this kind of brings us to the next point then, Richie. Really, is this coming to Stadia? There was no official tags. The message from EA is Series X, PC, and PlayStation 5, and we've had for some time us wondering about. Jedi Fallen Order, of course, was a pro game last May, or the May... Well, not the May just gone, sorry. The May before, 2021, if I recall. That's right. And this actually takes place around the same time as the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. It's 5 years after the last game, which now brings it up right. So I'm expecting maybe by the end of this show that we see a cameo from Cal on the run at some point. He crosses paths with Obi-Wan, maybe.
Well, I threw out... not necessarily theory, an interesting idea to you while we're still away. What if we get a scene where Cal bumps into Obi-Wan, like just a cameo sort of scene? Yeah. And we get that from Obi-Wan's point of view in the show, but then you get that from Cal's point of view in the game.
Yeah, so it's almost like Back to the Future.
So like in different paths, they just happen to converge briefly.
Yeah, it's almost like Back to the Future when you kind of see the lead up to how it happened from two perspectives, both in show and then in game. And we know Obi-Wan's Execute Order 66 shows up in the original Jedi Fallen Order game, so there is that crossover element of it existing. But yeah, 2023, next year, I would expect it probably sometime around the March, April, if I was to guess. And then if they didn't make that window, they'd probably push it back to the autumn time if they needed a little bit more polish. But I can't wait for this game. I absolutely adore Jedi Fallen Order. It was one of my favourite games of the year released, along with Control in 2019. We had suspected it was going to make it for this year, but a little bit of time more in the oven. The key thing that's going to loom over this game for us and the next stories in the doc this week is that, in your honest opinion, Richie, will we be seeing this next-gen only version of Star Wars from EA Respawn on Google Stadia? That is the killer question. That's the star killer question.
I'm going to be 100% honest saying that I don't think we will. And even if we do, I'm probably buying this on PlayStation 5 anyway. Because, as I've said before on other shows, Stadia feels PS4 Plus quality.
Pro.
And with watching that trailer, I want to play this at the best possible version I can. Mm-hmm. And I don't expect the Stadia version, if it comes to match the Xbox Series X PS5 version, and I own a PS5. And at this point, at the time this game comes out, I've owned a PS5 for 2 years as well. Mm-hmm. So it's like, if Stadia hasn't caught up to PS5 by the time it comes out, I'm buying this on PS5.
That's a fair assessment. If this kind of goes back to our Cloud Quest episode where we said, like, does Stadia need to like kind of relaunch, reboot, whatever that looks like? Is it investment in studios, which was this week's gone? It was the show for that week, the topic. But then realistically, I know they've said it would always be iterative, but they've never actually came out and explicitly said. And as time creeps by and we get these next gen only, we know Gotham Knights is gone next gen only. We know PlayStation, they've had a state of play this week. Some of their titles are now only next gen only after God of War Ragnarok. I think that's the only really one we know about which is multi-platform across PS4 and PS5. We know Series S is compatible going forward, but you're right, for the best and latest games running on the highest tech, at what point does Stadia start getting left behind? Xbox are going to keep upgrading theirs. They've already done so to the Series X blades.
Stadia still would have certain advantages over like PlayStation. However, with the PlayStation getting more involved in cloud, it's getting less prevalent. However, this is not a game that I want to play on my phone while on the go.
Yeah.
So it's something like FIFA, I might still consider getting on Stadia. Something like this is a game that I'm going to want to sit down for hours at a time in front of the best screen I own to play. It's not something I want to be picking up for 5-10 minutes here and there.
Yeah. So the question really is then, Google Stadia, you need to use the Force and reach out to EA and get this locked in.
You need to make it happen. You need to make it happen. You need to give it the power it needs.
Yeah. And I would hate to think they've gone to EA and Respawn and said, look, Jedi Fallen Order, terrific. We love having it on the platform. It's a really good tech showpiece. Could we get the sequel? I'd love to be, again, a fly on the wall at any of these conversations, but to actually hear, is it EA go back and say, we'd be happy putting it on, but we're doing next gen only, and what we can see is that it's not really up to snuff? Or is it the other way of it's not worth us putting it on because of the player base and the sales numbers potentially, so you need to cough up?
I think it's the latter, because on server the specs are good enough for Stadia to compare with the Series X and the PS5, but you lose a lot of that quality in the port, and because it's a cloud based. So when you get down to you're getting more things like compression and things. It has to be rendered at a higher resolution and compressed down and scaled back up. So it's a lot of wizardry. What amazing technology, to be perfectly honest. That ultimately means that like for like, cloud's always going to be lagging, and this is the point. I think you could put this game, if you ported it over to Linux, you could put it on Stadia and it would run absolutely fine, but it wouldn't look as good as you'd get it on the PS5, Xbox Series X.
Which then it comes down to, is the convenience factor enough, as you said, with the FIFA comparison?
As I said, and for this game, the convenience doesn't particularly matter for me.
Yeah. And then there's also the reality of there's nothing to stop in the meantime Microsoft paying EA some money to get this on Game Pass. There's nothing to stop it coming, because again, the way the industry's shifting and moving with subscription models is anything can happen. So again, it's like barriers to entry and price, and with Game Pass being so rich in content and rotating games in and out, where's the value in getting it on Stadia if it's not running at its best? And again, we know we always talk about the £500 console purchase. That is completely true, but if you don't have the library to back it up from other titles, yes, you might get Jedi Fallen Order, but what else is there to keep you going back to it? And that's the kind of, I feel like, the crux of the story that we keep getting at week on week now as we cover these topics, and that these trailers drop and there's no indication that it's coming to Google Stadia. And the longer that thought process ticks over, it's just going to get more kind of poisoned almost. The well is almost getting poisoned every time a story drops that's not committing developers, publishers to the platform. It gets sourer and sourer week on week, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, I really do hope it comes to the platform, because I know there's people out there who don't have a box under the TV, and Stadia is how they interact with games. For their sake, I really hope it comes.
But for us,
yeah, I mean, I'm lucky enough to have options.
Yeah, certainly.
And for this game, I think the option of PlayStation 5 is a better option for me.
Yeah.
Personally.
Personal choice. Play wherever makes you the happiest. Or the only place you can play it, I guess, at this point, if it's not coming. Moving on, though, we'll move away from Star Wars. We'll no doubt come back to it more, as we're both big Star Wars fans. We're moving over to sports, Richie. So forget your pod racing. We're moving over to some real-world sports on our planet.
Let's not forget pod racing.
Let's
we
not
went to an
forget
arcade in Poland. The pod racing game was awesome.
We did.
Like, legitimately awesome.
It was a throwback. But Madden 23 has got some details. Electronics Arts have shared some of the first details regarding the next title, Madden series. Big thing for me straight away, the big takeaway is they're putting John Madden himself back on the cover after his unfortunate passing earlier this year, last year, I can't recall now. But yes, he's going to grace the front cover for the first time in many, many years as kind of a signature sign-off to the great man himself. So that's the nice touch from EA. They've showcased some of the features. They've showcased some of the new buzzwords they'll be using. Richie, Field Sense is, I think it's the equivalent to Hypermotion from last year's FIFA, to showcase the kind of the mocap, the dynamic fluidity of the game. Again, both you and me were not NFL players, fans, anything like that. We of course play football, not NFL.
Was it Madden 21 or 22 we streamed?
21, I believe. 21 back in the day. When it came to FIFA at like a great launch price, or like, not too sure. Because it came, if you remember, 21...
It was a free weekend.
Yeah, 21 came late, similar to FIFA 21 as well. So it came a little bit late to the platform, and then we got the sequels following up on that. But it comes back to it. I'm reading from the 9 to 5 article. So when Stadia landed Madden NFL 21 back in 2021, albeit a few months later than other platforms, it was a big deal for the streaming service, as Madden is one of the core franchises gamers expect to see. Conversely, it also made the Madden NFL franchise accessible to those without a console. Praise cloud gaming. Things stayed steady later that year, with Madden NFL 22 launching day and date on Stadia alongside other major platforms, which again seemed a lock-in for Madden for the future. Today, Electronic Arts took the wraps off the enhanced features, including Field Sense, got a lisp there, exclusive to the PS5 and Series X. However, 9 to 5 Google did a bit of digging. Shout out to Duncan as well from Cloud Gaming Extreme. He also picked out, and if you shared the link from the EA, the actual kind of the blog post from EA's website, when you shared the link through things like Discord and such, you know when it usually pulls through like a little indent, an embedded kind of like little story piece, a description, that showed Stadia on the list. So there's that kind of like, if you read into the coding a little bit, it did say Stadia. However, 9 to 5 Google reached out to EA, and EA have now confirmed that Madden NFL 23 is not slated to arrive on Stadia. So we've heard it from the horse's mouth, ladies and gentlemen. A representative for Electronics Arts has confirmed to the official 9 to 5 website that it's not getting a Stadia release. Best case scenario, I guess, Richie, is it comes at a later time, similar to 21. But after last year's day and date release, is this just another sign similar to Jedi Survivor that EA had done for the time being with Google Stadia?
I mean, it was a 5-game deal. Google give them a bag of cash for 5 games. We've got 5 games, and Google are no longer in the business of giving developers bags of cash. So yeah, it sucks. This is what we were fearing most, to be honest, with Stadia. Is like, is this just that's it? It's done. And this seems to be the case. It seems like we are not getting Madden.
Yep. And I know that'll be a big blow to sports fans out there. It is, again, that telling thing back to the Jedi one and some other titles that we haven't. Remember, we didn't get Grid Legends, which was... yes, it was Codemasters, then moved to EA, but we had Grid, so both studios have actively put previous titles on the platform. This is another one. It's, again, at the beginning of the year, I tweeted out a list of big AAA titles this year, and funnily enough, I didn't actually include the sports titles, because in my back of my mind, I figured actually we probably would see FIFA 23 and Madden 23. And as we creep closer and we start getting these announcements and trailers coming out, Jedi Fallen Order, no mention. Madden, no mention.
I hate being this pessimistic, but it's a regression of the platform. I can't think of any other legitimate take than that. It's like, we got them late. We've got 21 late. We got 22 on day and date, and now we're not getting 23.
Yeah, where do you go from that? Like, I don't know. It is backwards. Like, you can defend it as much as it wants. Like, we know the tech works, but realistically, the games just like we're middle of the year now. We're at the middle of the year, Richie, and we've got no AAA games past Extraction, which was in January.
And it's Ubisoft, and Ubisoft basically doesn't count.
I mean, yeah. I mean, we didn't get Roller Champions. That just came out last week.
That is delayed. It is due to come.
Oh, I know it's due, but again, it's the screw is almost turning a little bit, and Again, I wasn't too fussed on Grid Legends because we enjoyed what we played of Grid, but I'm not a big racing fan. However, I've got to say, if Star Wars doesn't come and FIFA and Madden don't, I mean, Madden not so much for me, but FIFA doesn't come, that's concerning as a fan of the platform. It's heading, visually, the optics of Stadia, it's heading in the wrong direction.
Well, I said I was planning on getting Jedi Survivor on PlayStation, but FIFA 23, I want that on Stadia.
Yeah, I mean we'll bring that in. Yeah, we'll bring that into the fold now because it's again sports titles. It's EA. It's all under the same umbrella. The last FIFA game in the franchise before it pivots to EA Sports FC, and we don't know about that one. There's usually a release announcement some point between June and August, so possibly in the next coming weeks, EA will tease that. We might see it at Summer Games Fest at some point. Probably doubtful because it's sports and it doesn't really go down well at these showcase events. But one of the biggest kind of known leakers in YouTube and streamer content creators out there who's closely associated with FIFA has actually posted out a tweet saying EA Sports FIFA 23 officially launches worldwide. Again, take this with a grain of salt. Friday the 30th of September. And it releases on PS5, PS4, Series XS, Xbox One, PC, Windows, Origin, Steam, and Google Stadia platforms. A Legacy Edition is expected to be exclusive for Nintendo, which we know the Switch version is just a copy and paste job with a different skin over it from years prior. Again, take this one with a pinch of salt, but this content creator has quite a large following and he's been known in the past to leak FIFA news quite accurately as well. He's got an accompanying blog post on their website as well, and I'll just read straight from that. Officially launches worldwide. Those who've played, what else has he got? He kind of just describes what FIFA actually is then, so scratch reading that description. I won't waste your time. But he does mention Google Stadia platform in there. Does FIFA get a pass because it's maybe bigger than Madden? Have EA turned around possibly, Richie, and said, look, you can have one game. You can have Jedi, you can have Madden, you can have FIFA, and what's the best return for EA on this one?
I think it's probably if we assume that FIFA is coming, it comes down to basically how much budget Google have to buy a game, and I know Madden is massive in the USA, but nowhere else in the world particularly cares about it. FIFA is global, so they're not actually comparable in size in terms of the audience. So if you have the money to get one of these games, it's FIFA. It's not even a question.
Yeah.
But because we're not getting Madden, I am very skeptical, and the closer we get, it's like I'm starting to get nervous because I do want FIFA and I want it on Stadia because Stadia for me is the best place to play it.
I'm totally with you on that one. I've played more FIFA this past year due to the accessibility it's given me with the mobile phone and the Razer Kishi and jumping from device to device and not being beholden to a television in my living room. It's perfect for a sports game.
The potential drop in quality that you might see from PlayStation 5 to Stadia is relatively inconsequential. Compared to the amount of versatility you get and where you play. Because I can imagine you just sat on the couch next to your wife, she's watching something on telly, and you're just with your Kishi out on your phone. Yeah,
just chip away at it. I've played a few games in the past on my lunch break as well, when I've been miles and miles away from home, in a hotel or wherever, and you've got that 20-30 minute window after you've finished your lunch, and just jump in. And we've said time and time again, sports titles are fantastic for that because you don't need to commit an entire night, an evening to playing them. But I think you're right, Richie. I think if Madden isn't arriving, I don't think we're getting FIFA either. I think it's just not. It's either not worth the time or their effort, and that will be a massive, massive blow for even the most staunch Stadia fans and defenders and whatever. The writing's got to be on the wall at some point, and if one of the biggest third-party developers on the planet isn't making games for your platform anymore, something's not right behind the scenes.
It's entirely possible Google could turn around and just go, we are going to focus on indies, we are going to be the best place to play indie games, full stop, and go after that, because there is value there. That is a niche you could carve. But they haven't said that, so...
Or they could just stay silent for another entire year, and the games will come out everywhere else, and that's it.
I really want FIFA to come, but everything I've seen over the last year suggests it's not. This is this one tweet from someone on Twitter who I do not know, I do not follow. the only thing I've seen that suggests it might.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, we haven't had an official announcement or anything yet, so
no,
we'll put a pin in that one for now, and hopefully when the official trailer drops in a few months' time, weeks' time, EA do a press event, they start... I mean, all the footballers are taking their well-earned rest now, so I'm sure they'll be all pulled in to do like marketing campaigns for FIFA. They'll be doing the green screen shots and everything like that. But the reality is, yeah, it seems to be the writing might quite honestly be on the wall for EA's relationship with Stadia, and I think it'll be a massive loss not to have FIFA and Madden, the racing games from Codemasters, and Star Wars.
Unless Google take our advice from CloudQuest and buy them.
They could do that, yeah. They could buy EA, but we don't know if they're in that market. Moving on, Richie, moving away
lucrative markets
from sports. They should. We know that. They just need to know that. Moving away from sports, though, to some horror. As part of the PlayStation State of Play, we had a update for Resident Evil. Resident Evil Village is getting some VR content. Great. Doesn't benefit us here on this particular podcast. I was actually hoping to hear something from Re:Verse. Where the hell is that, Richie? The game came out nearly a year ago now. We bought Village last June, if I recall, and we're in June now. Where is my DLC expansion multiplayer content that we were told if we bought the game? I digress. Focusing on this news story, Resident Evil 4 Remake, with a reimagined storyline, is coming for PC, PS5, and Series X and S, due March 2023. The reimagined version of Capcom's survival horror classic kicked off the State of Play event with an eye-catching trailer showing multiple characters that you're probably familiar with. And it's coming. As we know, it's been rumoured for quite some time. But yes, teased at the State of Play, Richie. Resident Evil, we've played a little bit of Resident Evil 2 Remake. Resident Evil 3 Remake has happened. And here we are, using the RE engine. Resident Evil 4 Remake is on the cusp of a global release. However, not again confirmed for Google Stadia. And the reason we always bring this up and we include these stories in the show, ladies and gentlemen, for anyone out there wondering, is because we got Village, we got Capcom's latest Resident Evil entry last year. We also got 7 just the month before on Pro. And we'll be getting whatever the Re:Verse release looks like. That will be coming when they pull the finger out and get around to it. So we've said for some time, I'd love to see RE2 and 3 Remake. And funnily enough, last week, Amazon Luna got Resident Evil Remake 2 and 3. So I'm sure players on Luna right now over in the United States, still the only place you can play Luna, they'll be expecting Resident Evil 4 as the next entry. But as a Stadia fan and as a Stadia player who played Village, full Let's Play series is up with me and Richie screaming and jumping to our heart's content. That's available on the channel now. Resident Evil 4, Richie, where's this relationship at with Stadia and Capcom then? Is this more likely than Madden? What do you think?
Again, I think this was a one and done deal. I think Google probably put the money up at the time because Resident Evil was one of these. Village was one of these big moves that they made with the likes of Doom Eternal and Cyberpunk. Resident Evil was in that Village was in that category when they were throwing bags of cash around, and it's obvious that they put the money down. We want Village day and date. We'll also take 7. We'll put 7 on Pro, and then we'll get Village day and date. But I think that might be a one and done deal. The more I think about it, the more I see how Google seem to operate. It seems to be very much all like bespoke deals per game rather than general deals with publishers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was 10 million reportedly for the Biohazard and Village ports to Stadia. And that was kind of... It looked like it was one of their last pushes. So we know we got Cyberpunk. I'm sure there was some money exchanged there to get it across as like their Christmas marketing push. We saw a massive spike in users and Stadia kind of praise and positivity in journalism. Died down. And then in the summer, Village was their big promotional push. We then got nothing at the back end of last year. We apparently, as of, again, time recording, 3rd of June, nothing for this summer. We missed all of the Dying Lights, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, Grid Legends, Lego Star Wars, WWE 2K22. We've missed all of those games, so I'm curious if there even is a budget for a big tentpole port this year, and if, as you said, if Google just gone back to, well, if you want to put your games on our platform, you can, but we're not going to fund it anymore, and that's concerning.
I think the budgets went more into the underlying tech and in part of pushing it more for immersive stream for games, because by putting the money into the underlying tech, it opens up that market more and more, which is why they're focusing more on porting tools.
Yeah.
Which does hopefully make it easier for developers to get games onto Stadia, which means maybe a few developers might nibble a bit. But I think Stadia, Google, need to be proactive with this, and I just don't think they are.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, if you're Capcom, you're probably not thinking about Stadia. Stadia is just this weird platform you put 2 games out on.
Yeah. How many sales?
And then you've moved on.
Yeah. How many sales was Village to really? Did it merit a port over on your own finances, or do you want that bag of cash still? And I've seen plenty of people say yes, the low porting tools that are in place to help things come across, but it's almost a case of, is it too little too late? Like, great, you've got faster tools, but if no one's porting their launch titles across your platform now, then why should they do it after the fan base has shrunk again?
I still think Google can turn this around, which is actually one of the focus of CloudQuest a few weeks ago. Was like, they can turn this around, but this is when we're talking about Stadia 2.0. Like, they need this big moment to kind of go to reinvest. Go, we are still in it.
Yeah, we
are going to push forward with this. Here's how we've been upgrading things behind the scenes and do it in a big way to get everyone who's become a bit jaded with Stadia to turn on and go, oh, you are, to convince people that Google still care about this platform.
Yeah. It's a viable platform and it has a future, but you need to actually just acknowledge it at some point, right? How long is it? It must be. When was the last Connect we had? We said it was like summer. So are we coming up on 2 years nearly since we had a last Connect, or just any kind? Like, I haven't seen Phil Harrison's face in so long. I don't know if the guy exists anymore. He's the leader. He is the boss of all of this, and he's been radio silent on Twitter for so long. And like I said, it's just silence. Silence speaks louder than words somehow. But anyway, Richie, we won't rest on that for too long because it's very easy to just go, no, it ain't coming. Moving on to some games we do know. We did get a, what's it called? Next up on Stadia, a new OS announcement. We got some reveals. Games coming in July 2022, so not too long to wait for this one. From Wired Productions and Whisper Games, we have Those Who Remain. Those Who Remain places you in an up-close psychological horror story set in the sleepy town of Dormant. Dormant, I like it. A town in a spiraling split from the fabric of reality, warped by darkness and the deeds of the citizens who reside. Some mistakes should never happen when your life is complete, and yet they do. Edward had the good life, a beautiful wife, perfect little girl, and yet finds himself several whiskies down and driving through the night of Dormant to end his secret affair in a bid to fix his mistakes, confront the uncomfortable horrors reflected by the darkness, and survive the night of Dormant, as Edward is confronted with a test of his sanity, morality, and the shadows of evil that lurk below. Richie, this is very reminiscent actually of Resident Evil Village, funnily enough. First person, spooky jumps, and a creepy scenario.
My thoughts is somewhere halfway between Resident Evil and Control. If them 2 games had the baby and it was a walking simulator. Yeah.
No, I agree. That's a good take on it. Those Who Remain. It's been out on other platforms. It did pique my interest. Funny enough, with us talking about all the Village content and watching the trailer and going, I'm getting graphically looks really, really good. Wired Productions, of course, seem to be supporting Stadia a little bit more as every month ticks by. And exciting stuff, and not too long to wait, which is always good. I know we're not too big of a fans of stealth drops over here, so announcing it and then telling us it's coming out next month it's a nice little short turnaround time. So will it be a pro game for next month? Quite possibly, but we'll have to wait and find out. Alongside that announcement, we also got the announcement that Mighty Switch Force is also coming to the platform. Switch up the fun with 4 games in one. As cybernetic peacekeeper, Officer Patricia Wagon uses her skills to do platform puzzling, solving abilities, and a special level-altering siren helmet to protect the people of Planet Land and smash enemies into the screen. That sounds like a terrible description for an arcade. It really does.
You know what? It looks actually quite fun. It reminds me a bit of something like Mega Man.
Yeah, it's the same guys who did like Shantae's Genie, Half Genie, Revenge kind of stuff as well. Very old school remakes of some older titles that anyone out there who's played them across, I can't even think what platform they would have been on. Richie, what are you thinking? NES? Maybe later?
Well, I mean, I think Mega Man's like NES, SNES kind of it. But even actually, Mega Man's still relevant. It's just it's one of them franchises I think just keeps bubbling along in the background.
Yeah, this is 4 games in one, of course. So Mighty Switch Force, it's the HD remake. Can't get my words out.
I want to stress though, it's not like one of these crappy 100,000 games in one. It's like, no, this is 4 actual releases bundled into a single collection.
Yeah, it's Mighty Switch Force, Mighty Switch Force Hyperdrive Edition, Mighty Switch Force 2, that's hard to say, and Mighty Switch Force Academy as well, all in one, included in the Switch Force collection. I actually saw that at first, and it was like, Switch? Why does it say Switch? Is it Nintendo Switch collection? No, it wasn't. It was, in fact, just the title of the collection. But moving on a little bit, little short story. This is regarding Ghost Recon. We thought we'll touch on it because it's been kind of doing the circles on social media. Ghost Recon Breakpoint game saves, Richie, have been disappearing for selected players.
They're not having a good week, Stadia. Are they?
It doesn't seem to be, no. Again, it's the lack of communication. If they came out after all of this news and said, don't worry, the games are coming, or maybe have a presence at these events or a logo on the content. But yeah, to bring it back around, Ghost Recon saves have been disappearing. A lot of people have shown that they've lost hours and hours of content, save files, story progress. Seem to just being wiped. They weren't there when you log in, and this is kind of one of those things when it's in the cloud, you just kind of boot it up, and if it said no save file found, what would you do? You couldn't check a memory card. You couldn't look in your software settings and see if it's a moved file. You couldn't unplug your hard drive and check that. It's very much in the hands of Google Stadia at this point. Or so it would seem, Richie, because it turns out it was actually a Ubisoft issue. So before you grab your pitchfork and go shouting on Phil Harrison's door...
Ubisoft Connect.
Hello, Ghosts, they tweet out. Only on Stadia since May 25th, some players have seen their progression lost. Since realising this, our team has worked hard to resolve and restore saves as you left them before the issue occurred. Today, we are glad to share with you that you should not face inconveniences anymore related to the characters being missing or progression being erased. Thank you to all who've contacted our support team about the issue. If unfortunately you are still facing some progress loss or issue related to the incident, please reach out to our support team via our website and our dedicated forum section. Apologies again for this problem and the inconvenience to the Ghost Recon team. So it seems like it was raised at the back end of May in its entirety, and it has been resolved. So again, I'm sure very concerning for the players involved, everyone out there. It had its whole hullabaloo across social media. Yes, it's a really bad thing. It doesn't look like it was Stadia's problem. It looked like it was a Ubisoft specific issue. It's resolved.
Yeah, but I mean, it does bring up the whole Stadia save situation where you cannot personally back up your saves. And I know it'd be very difficult to actually do, but I always think that what Google could do, we've probably talked about this 2 years ago, is utilize your Google Cloud. Because you have to, well, not so much anymore, but for a long time, you had to have a Gmail account to play Stadia, which means that you have a Google Drive. Mm-hmm. They could have just added an extra partition to that, where they put all your saves, all your captures, and there you go.
In your Drive.
Then that means you can just download that, all them files immediately to back up as you choose, upload them again, and that updates your physics. However Stadia works in the back end stuff. Yeah,
I'm sure it's not as easy as that, but it's
no.
Definitely
God, I imagine
solution.
it's very, very complicated.
Yeah.
But if I could go into my Google Drive and just go to a section that just said Stadia, you got my Drive computer shared with me, and there's one that just says Stadia, and there's my saves, and I can just
copy and paste.
Do a backup.
That'd be handy.
Yeah.
If you had 2 Stadia accounts, you could just copy and paste your file over. I remember back in the day, when you'd play games on PC and you could go into the audio files and import your own MP3 music. So I did it on Roller Coaster Tycoon, where you could have the music playing around the ride in the queue. Could just be your MP3s. It was like, oh, awesome! I can go and get official Disney music, or I can go and get theme park music, or just play my own rock songs on loop in the theme park. It's I'm living in the theme park. I'm the boss. Very, very easy. However, resolved. Yeah. No need to panic. Hopefully it won't happen again.
And not Stadia's fault, so...
Key thing to remember. They can do some things right. Next up, we've got, speaking of doing things right, CD Projekt Red is still chipping away on Cyberpunk 2077. They of course, have a story expansion, which has been promised. It's still expected to launch next year. It was pushed back a little bit later. But following the, of course, crazy launch that happened at the back end of 2020, all of CD Projekt's development resources have moved around, switched. They've cancelled some stuff. They've focused on some other things. They finally got it back up on PlayStation. They've got the next gen versions then came out. And looking at one of the leaks that have came out this week, there was a chart detailing the shifting team size of its projects and their focuses as we head into the back end of this year. And it looks like the team is pretty much fully focused now on the development of the Cyberpunk Expansion. So looking at the chart, it's like kind of a colourful bar chart, Richie. It's got support for Cyberpunk 2077 and Next Gen. It's got Gwent-related projects, Spocko, don't know what Spocko is, Cyberpunk Expansion, other projects including the new Witcher IP, which we know they announced, the Molasses Flood project, no idea what that is, and a W3 Next Gen version, which is the Witcher 3 Next Gen version, which we know they've only just recently taken from it's the Russian studio, blanking on the name. Deep Silver?
Oh,
What
God.
is it, Deep Silver?
No, it wasn't Deep Silver. They're Embracer Group.
Yeah, but they're still in Russia. It doesn't matter who they're part of.
It's Saber Interactive?
Saber, yeah, that must be Saber. Yeah, it sounds about right. Who are part of Embracer still. Either way, we digress. So it looks like, Richie, as we head into this year, yes, CD Projekt Expansion is now... CD Projekt. Cyberpunk Expansion is now the biggest chunk of their development plans. So it looks like, hopefully, it's full force ahead. And we're heading into it. You finished Cyberpunk. Would you jump back in for an expansion? A free expansion to the story?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I don't feel motivated. I think it is a game I will go back and play again at some point in time, but there's so many other games I want to play at the moment. I've kind of moved beyond it. It's always there in my Stadia library, so at some point I might.
Well, hopefully you
but
say
I'm struggling to keep. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't care because I'll be starting fresh anyway.
Just to remind yourself what everything actually does and goes on.
It's on the list of games that I would like to go back and play again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's same here again.
There's no timeline on it at all.
Same again. It's just I'm sure I'll get that itch to jump back into it. Maybe the expansion will do that. Very much similar to The Witcher. When the Witcher Next Gen version comes out, I'm going to finally commit and jump back into trying to finish The Witcher 3.
I think for people who haven't finished it or didn't take it up at launch, the expansion is probably a good motivator to get back in.
There'll be marketing, there'll be promotional talk, and it plays better now than it will ever done. So, and more so on Stadia as it has done since day one. Day one.
The thing that disappoints me about this news is how small the Witcher 3 Next Gen version bar is.
It depends. It's tiny. Again, it was very near the end, so I'm hoping that just means that it needs a little focus because it's already almost finished. And it's just a case of getting it over the finish line now.
It might also be, if Cyberpunk Expansion's coming out this year, that big bar that is for Cyberpunk will switch over as soon as you're done. Move over, get that done.
Once it's box signed,
then on to a new project.
Indeed, a new Project Red. Speaking of projects that are no longer a thing, if you head over to the Google Stadia storefront online now, we reported on it a few weeks back, but the actual Stadia section had disappeared and it was moved under the Smart Home tab on the website. You'll have noticed, or eagle-eyed viewers have noticed, that the Premiere Edition is no more. Richie, I'm reading from Stadia Source. The Stadia Premiere Edition appears to be no more. And that is a fact because it is no longer on the Stadia website. So anyone who's somehow getting caught up in the description of this as a writer for Stadia Source, I can assure you that it is no more. Fact, because if you go to the website, it ain't there. It's no messing around. There's no lines in the headline or the title. It literally is not there. So it is no more. You cannot purchase it through Google.
I mean, all this story basically means is they finally ran out of Chromecast Ultras.
Or they finally just want to draw a line under it and say, we're selling tech that's now 5+ year old, defunct. There's a better version of it out. We need to stop pushing it on our website.
Yeah. You might find something weird, like they just donate these to chat. I hope these, surplus stock they have of Ultras doesn't just end up as e-waste.
Melt them down.
I hope they just, either use them internally for stuff or donate them to charity, but the controller's the controller that can just be reboxed into the new stuff.
Again,
that's not a big deal.
Again, so we should clarify the Premiere Edition is no more, but that doesn't stop you just buying a Stadia controller and a Chromecast as one of their plain watch packs. So build Supermatch,
which is effectively the successor to the Premiere Edition. The only difference is you get the new Google Chromecast with Google TV rather than just a Chromecast
Yeah.
Ultra.
And it saves them money on packaging because they don't have to make another Stadia specific pack. It's just the controllers they've got in the warehouse en masse. They're still piled up. The new Chromecast that have came in, they're all piled up. Someone at the warehouse just goes box number 1, box number 2, posts it to you. Reading between the lines a little bit, disappointed that there isn't a new Premiere Edition, like a Stadia bundle, like that combines the power adapter with the Ethernet, the Chromecast, the new one, and a controller with maybe a bit of variety on colour. Because we've said on a few side quest episodes and on the podcast, when do we see the next hardware iteration? It's nearly been 3 years now, and
I do it as part of my 2.0 relaunch. We're going to add new colours. We're going to add this fully boxed in. You're going to get the Ethernet as part of the Play and Watch pack. But yeah, I'm not expecting anything like that anytime soon because, I mean, you can for £89 get everything you need to play Stadia on your TV. Yeah. If your TV doesn't support it natively anyway, which is getting more and more common.
Exactly. But yes, as of now, the Stadia Premiere Edition appears to be no more on the website. To prove us wrong, go buy one from the website, and then they'll be proved wrong. We should point out, if you want one, you can probably get one on eBay. I'm sure there's hundreds of them out there now to pick up where people have got them. I've still got one over there, unboxed, so sat around. Anyway, Richie, moving on to our final stories of the week. Unfortunately, that we do have news to report that another game appears to be leaving the Stadia platform, not through any choice of Stadia. It will join Football Manager in the basement. Super Bomberman R, Konami have announced they are terminating Super Bomberman R Online later this year. December the 1st will be your last chance. Actually, get it in before that, so the end of November. The online-only specific Battle Royale version of Super Bomberman will be ending. So use your Bomber coins, people. Use your premium packs. Get them in, get them spent. And they have confirmed they'll be moving forward with new projects, and they'll be hoping to share the news soon. But as with most games, Richie, that rely on servers, if the fan base dwindles, it costs money to run and keep these things alive. It looks like Super Bomberman R Online is not long for this world. Any quick thoughts on this one? We enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's a fun game. Maybe we should try and do a stream of it before it closes off.
That would be a nice.
As a one last hurrah, because it's always sad to see a game that people have enjoyed disappear. But
yeah, we'll play the sad music from Fast and the Furious as the drive away into the distance, and we probably won't play it. We'll get copyright struck, but we'll play the game. We'll have a few last blasts or bombs.
December the 1st is the Thursday as well.
Oh, is it? Oh, well, actually, we need to check. It's terminated.
Depending what time the servers close off, we might be able to just play until the end.
Play until literally the stream just ends through no fault of our own. Just the game is no longer functional. A big shame. We're both fans here of conserving history and gaming history and video games.
Game conservation.
Yeah, exactly. And it's weird because when it's in the clouds, you'd think it would be safe because the servers are ran, but
it's when multiplayer only titles. I think are the ones that most
they are.
I don't know, susceptible to just being gone, because when there's no one playing them, that's it.
And why would you, as a business, fund the behind the scenes?
Nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I hope Konami have learned from things that have happened in the past where they'll keep the source code.
Yeah,
I'm sure developers in the past just saw the source code as disposable once the game was out, and who cares?
Yeah, again.
But yeah,
certainly. So R.I.P. Super Bomberman R. We hope to see you in the future in a new form capacity that hopefully has a longer lifespan than this one. Final things that maybe don't have a lifespan on Stadia. Just a quick one. Destroy All Humans 2 Reprobed, coming from THQ Nordic. We know we had Destroy All Humans Remake that came out. We played it. It was a pro game about half a year ago now. There's a first look again up on the channel. I enjoyed what I played of it. If anyone out there has got nostalgia for the PS2 era, you'll be glad to know that Crypto is back with Destroy All Humans 2. However, they've not confirmed it's coming to Stadia. This is another one of those titles, Richie, where they just need to goddamn come out and say yeah, it's coming. We have a great relationship with Embracer Group. They've put many titles out. Many titles have gone pro, this included. Where the hell is the sequel announcement for this one? This is some of the stuff that could quite easily make up a Stadia Connect. They could get the Jedi Fallen Order trailer, they could get the Madden trailer, they could get Destroy All Humans. bunch of Ubisoft shit. Just put it all together and slap your logo on the beginning end of the video, and Phil Harrison can say, I'm still alive. Post it on YouTube. Boom. 20 minutes. Keeps everyone happy. Keeps the platform vibrant with a roadmap of sorts. But I digress. It's just a little side note to this. They have done a spin-off game called Clone Carnage, which you can get on other platforms now. They annoyingly did tweet out saying available on all platforms, and I saw a few people in the community go like, what do you mean by all platforms? And they had to clarify.
That's a complicated term nowadays, like, because we're still like between generations on Xbox and Sony consoles. Mm-hmm. So there's 4 platforms. You got Switch, you got PC, you got mobile, you got Stadia, Luna, GeForce Now. Like, there's 10.
Exactly, all platforms. Interesting to see them do a little local multiplayer couch co-op spin-off though in this Clone Carnage game. It's interesting. Like, they must have been so far through development and thought, oh, we can just use these assets and do like a cheeky little spin-off. Funnily enough, if you pre-order the 2 Reprobed, you get this for free. Or you can buy it standalone for like 12-13 quid.
I wonder if it's just like a concept that they just threw together. Like, actually, this is quite fun. Polish it up, finish it off, and we can tag it on.
Yeah, we'll just use it as a promo push, as something new that you get to sweeten the deal on your pre-order for 2, because that's coming.
And if it takes off, it's a revenue spinner for them potentially. Because you can imagine things like battle passes and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So, except for again, not on Stadia. So we've reached out to them. I know a few people have. THQ, Black Forest Games enjoyed it on Pro, but will we see it? Who knows? Richie, just want to end on a few little happy notes this week as we round up the show. It looks like 314 Arts is now an official Stadia developer. These are the makers of Projekt Z. We reported on it kind of every week, I think, for the last month, relating to the Kickstarter going live. They're talking about bringing it to Stadia. It was included in the Kickstarter. Then the Kickstarter last week or the week before was cancelled. For whatever reason, they pulled the plug on it. It didn't quite meet its quota, so I think they pulled it before, and embarrassingly, unfortunately, not able to make it. But it turns out they've posted out saying they are an official partner. Don't know what that means. We don't know the ins and outs of it. Whether that means they're a Google partner internally, they just signed up to make the game for Stadia necessarily.
Well, they seem to be the developer themselves rather than this game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, their actual logo is Stadia coloured almost with the branding now. If you notice, their Twitter logo has all got like that Stadia colour gradient to it. I didn't even
notice that. But it makes me optimistic for their future, and like, because going to I see it now, but was it changed? It might have just been changed.
I can't recall. I mean, their tweet actually does say we're happy to announce that it's now an official Stadia developer. That means our upcoming games will also release on Stadia, so it's not like an exclusive or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, official Google Stadia developer, I don't think that's a terminology we've heard before.
No, but
not at least not since Stadia Games and Entertainment closed.
Yeah, I was thinking it might be the Stadia developers kind of stuff they do, like the indie developer. I forgot what it's called now. It's been so long since they did something for it. The Stadia Makers program, is that it? Is that right?
Yeah.
That's the one. Be, yeah. So either way, we'll no doubt see some updates on Projekt Z as they get this project off the ground, and we'll go from there with it. But we'll keep you updated. We'll keep you in the loop. And then the final nice little sweet one I wanted to end on, Richie, is there's a nice little Lego BD1 coming to a galaxy very, very close to you. Just something that we all like BD1 from Jedi Fallen Order. Well, now you can get them in cute little Lego form. I just want to throw that out there for anyone who likes Lego. 1,062 pieces. It'll stand at 31 centimetres tall. I thought you were about to
say 1,062 pounds then.
No, piece. I mean, probably not far off with Lego. But yeah, it won't be a static companion to add to your collection. It will actually have a head that'll tilt, move, wiggle and stuff as well to maximise his cuteness, and you can pose him how you want. But yeah, I like BD1. I like his little character. I hope he shows up in more Star Wars content and live action. We might actually see him in Obi-Wan. Like I said. But that brings us to an end, Richie, for episode 141 of your weekly Sounds of Stadia podcast. Remember, your most consistent Stadia podcast on the planet. 141 weeks in a row, every Monday, right here on youtube.com/HidisCloudGames, or up there on your podcast preference of choice. We bring you all the Stadia news, rounded up and listened, described, discussed, chatted about, shit all over, whatever mood we fancy ourselves in, Richie. But thank you to everyone out there who's listened, who's tuned in, who's watched this week. Don't forget, if you haven't done so already, do give the video a like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you're kept in the loop with all of our amazing cloud gaming content we do here on the channel, like our first looks, our live streams, our weekly community streams we do with people as well, our Cloud Quest show, and this very show as well, and much, much more. Jump into the Discord if you want to continue the discussion over there. If you've got any questions, comments, or concerns for the show, head over there. We've got threads as well, and if you want to meet some like-minded gamers, they're all hanging about there too, waiting for you to drop a gamer tag in the chat. Richie, we're about to go away and record Cloud Quest, which our members, our Helix heroes, get up to 6 days early, sometimes 7, sometimes 8, sometimes 9, depending on what we're doing and which country we reside in. Shout out to MJ Parks and Dre for coming back and rejoining the Helix Heroes Club. There's over 50 of you out there. We love you all the more, and you can do that by clicking join on the YouTube video. Richie, Cloud Quest, what are we talking about this week? We've got a big summer of games coming up.
We have, and we're going to be doing Summer Games Fest predictions and what we expect to see from Summer Games Fest this year. And a side note to this, to Cloud Quest, we'll be launching this on Thursday morning instead of Friday morning for non-members. So you have time to watch it before everything kicks off.
Fantastic stuff. Yes, we should also point out we would normally traditionally cover Summer Games Fest launch night with Jeff Keighley. I'm away at a works event, so I'm unable to attend, and quite honestly, there's probably not going to be any Stadia news, unfortunately, that's announced, so we'll recap it on next week's show if there is any relevant news, but yes.
Yeah, I'm away on a works event Tuesday to Wednesday as well, so I was like, yeah,
it doesn't time.
It's too much
time for our adult lives. But as I said, we'll report on it on the show. And a huge thank you to all the wonderful people who've made us reach that 1,500 subscribers count as well. 1.5k. You're all awesome. It's another milestone for us. We couldn't thank you anymore. But that has been it for episode 141. My name's been Chris.
And I've been Richie.
And remember, everyone, play wherever and whatever makes you the happiest. Have a great week of gaming. We'll see you in the clouds. Goodbye.
Bye.